gentlemen, we have just landed at Aquino International Airport. For your safety, please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened.
1 month in the Philippines. That was the plan. A trip just for fun with 2 of my friends, see the sights, eat lots of great food, swim in the crystal clear water, experience things for the first time, see some old friends and maybe make some new ones, and of course, document everything along the way. And that's what I did. But this trip didn't really go as expected, and what was just going to be another travel vlog is now something just a little more than that. A lot happened in the past month, so on top of the usual travel vlog, I also want to share what I've learned about traveling and the answer to a question this trip had me asking myself. Why travel? So this is the Philippines, and this is the amazing view from our Airbnb in Manila. But I'm actually going to skip ahead since this series is based on the province of Palawan. Don't worry, I'm still going to be throwing in clips from all over the Philippines, but for now, the story starts 2 weeks later at an airport in the province of Bohol.
Call me crazy, but it makes sense.
Okay, so to quickly recap the past 2 weeks, we flew from Toronto to Manila and stayed there for 5 nights. Some of our friends were there, so it was more of just hanging out than sightseeing. After Manila, we flew to Boracay, which is a common tourist spot. We did a bunch of island hopping, and although we didn't see the sun at all, it was still a good time. Well, mostly. I'll explain later. After that, we spent 5 nights in Cebu, and despite spending a bunch of time in the hotel, again, I'll explain later, we still had some memorable adventures.
The fin! Oh, you can see the fin. Oh.
Lastly, we took a ferry down to Bohol, stayed at a glamping site for 3 nights, and just tried to cover as much of the island as we could. Honestly, those 2 weeks were full of lots of great memories and could have been its own vlog instead of a 30-second summary. So why isn't it? Again, I'll get to that, but now that you have some context of where we're at in the trip, let's go back to the present, getting ready to land at our next stop, El Nido, Palawan.
To let the rest of our lives decide. To let the rest of our lives decide.
So right from getting out of the airport, El Nido gave a different vibe than the other places we've been to. It wasn't completely different, but there were definitely more tourists, and it also just gave a more remote feeling. Even the transportation here is mainly tricycles, which in the Philippines is basically a motorbike combined with a golf cart. We knew there would be lots in store for us in the next few days, but the only plan we had at this point was to make it to the hotel.
The real reason we booked this place. Let's see. This is what we got going on the inside. We got a double bed, and someone lucky is gonna get the single bed. We got a lot of space here. We have a TV and a fridge, which we didn't have last time. The washroom, pretty basic, but I mean, what more can you ask for? Except for a bidet. Bidet would be nice.
Oh, there's no bidet?
Nope.
Alright, so this is El Nido. We are here for 3 nights, and this is on the island of Palawan, which we are on a total for 8 nights. So I think that's what this vlog series is going to be about, kind of the 8 nights here in Palawan. But yeah, El Nido is probably one of the things that we were most excited about for this trip. For the past 2 weeks, we were like all over the Philippines, but Palawan and El Nido and Coron, which we're going to later on, were like the big ticket like areas that we're like, we definitely want to go here. And it looks like we're going to get good weather for once. I don't want to speak too soon, but I feel like El Nido is going to be a good time. this is our hotel. We are a beachfront hotel, so this is a little coffee shop downstairs, and right outside is the beach, which, man, that is nice. That one's ours. We got the corner suite. I told you not to doubt this place. Were you doubting? No? Aldrin, tell me why you were doubting.
Yeah, because like Hannah Hotel, I was like so hyped for it, and then it ruined it, and I don't know.
Hannah Hotel was the hotel we had in Boracay, and for some reason he thought that there was a pool on our balcony, so he was pretty let down.
Like we would walk out our door and there's like a pool there. I thought it was like I don't know, I was just let down by certain things of Hannah Hotel.
Honestly, I don't blame Aldrin for setting the bar low. Even in our previous stay, we were a bit deceived by the photos online and ended up with a much smaller place than we thought. But either way, we make the best of what we get, and if anything, it's just a memorable experience that we can just laugh at.
Alright, well, we're just gonna walk around, I guess, along the beach, enjoy the views, and also look for some food because we are hungry.
I remember sitting in that restaurant feeling like Palawan was the start of a new chapter. Everything before this was still amazing, but there were also a lot of challenges. Maybe it was the nice weather that got me feeling optimistic, but things really felt like they were starting to turn around.
Tell them what we're doing.
We're going to Las Cabanas Beach. Apparently it's the best place to see the sunset.
What are we in right now, Harris?
We're in a festival. It's the El Nido special.
Harris, what's your prediction for the sunset?
Oh, it's gonna be nice.
It's gonna be nice.
It's gonna be okay. The clouds are there.
Lots of clouds, but I think we'll get some good colors. We haven't gotten many great sunsets this whole trip. We've had a lot of rain, a lot of clouds, but the last few days have been good. So we're hoping for a good sunset to start off Palawan.
So the typical rainy season in the Philippines is May to October, meaning we're in the ideal time frame to travel and avoid the rain. But judging from the past 2 weeks, that clearly hasn't been the case. Now don't get me wrong, we didn't let the rain completely stop us from having a good time, but honestly, I just wanted a nice sunset for once.
Alright, we walked to the very end. We started all the way back there. And yeah, I don't know about the sunset. It's pretty cloudy, and maybe it'll like peak out like right here or right here. But either way, the weather's really nice. It's not too hot, which I guess is the advantage of the clouds. And honestly, I'm just glad it's not raining like most of our trip. What do you think of the views?
Could be better, but hey.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna like say something like I'm grateful.
And the views are nice.
Views
but
are
it could be
nice?
better.
Could be
Bro,
better?
bro, where's the sun?
This is cool though. You got the islands. You
we
can
got
zip line from all the-
we got mountains around, so that's something, right?
Yeah, we got the mountains.
I like the mountains.
Aldrin, bro, I actually really like this view right here. This is crazy. I don't know, like the layers are so nice.
All right, I'm calling it. The sun is gonna peak out right there, and it's gonna be like crazy. Is that realistic?
I can see that happening. There's a little bit of a space in between over there, so.
I also feel like
Bro, it's
when
so
the sun
white.
is below the horizon, we'll get like a lot of nice colors. That's what I'm hoping. I think that's reasonable.
So in the end, we didn't really get the sunset we were hoping for, which we were pretty used to by now. And in the past 2 weeks, bad weather was the least of our problems. So remember in the beginning when I said this trip didn't go as expected? Well, long story short, I got sick within the first week. Food poisoning, if you're really wondering. After about a week of that, I got sick again with a fever. Combine that with one of my cameras breaking and then the constant bad weather, I couldn't help but take a step back and reflect on how I'm even feeling towards this whole trip. So did I wait all this time just to say that I got sick and this is why the series is going to be a bit different? Well, kind of. And I get it, things like this happen all the time, so it's not that big of a deal. But as someone who loves to document their travels and wants to show people the destination at its best, I got to thinking that maybe I've been looking at travel the wrong way. Maybe it's not about having the best weather, or making the best vlog, or even being in the best condition. So by the end of the trip, and even as I'm writing this right now, I got to think about the why behind traveling. So what is it? Don't worry, I'm getting there.
Every time I see you, I'm caught up in the feeling. I get tunnel vision. Every time I see you.
It is really nice being right on the beach, just literally a few steps away. I was actually up since 5 a.m. and unfortunately the sun doesn't rise on our side, it rises on the other side. And I tried to fly my drone to see the sunrise, but we're too close to the airport, so it didn't even let me take off. A little unfortunate. Anyways, today is our first full day here in El Nido, and last night we actually booked an island hopping tour today, so that's pretty much what we're going to be doing. I think we're leaving in 30 minutes, so we're probably going to find some food and then head to the island hopping. Alright, I'm back at our hotel. I didn't find any breakfast downstairs. It's just like coffee and stuff, which I don't really drink. But Harris and Aldrin went to go find food. I have to finish packing. Also, I got my own bed now, so I don't have to share, which I'm really happy about. I'm packing my drone, an extra lens. I got my old GoPro here. I had this GoPro, which is the newest GoPro that I bought specifically for this trip. And literally the second time that I used it, it stopped working because water got inside. How does that even happen? I'm still upset about that. But I am glad that I brought this just in case.
So yeah, the camera that I mentioned earlier that broke was that GoPro. I knew we'd be doing a lot of underwater stuff, so I decided to buy the newest one. It also ended up breaking at the worst time, swimming with whale sharks in Cebu. Not being able to use my new camera was one thing, but having that happen kind of ruins the experience altogether. And I know the most important thing is the experience itself, not the photos or videos, but it's not so easy to put that aside in the moment. And like I said, these are the type of things that got me thinking about what's important when it comes to travel. Also, shout out to Aldrin with his phone and Felix with his GoPro for the footage.
Yeah, he's ready. Alright, Aldrin, show him your setup.
Alright, so first we'll start with the clothes.
Alright.
Long sleeve, just to keep myself, from the sun a little bit. I already put on sunscreen, just light, linen,
I'm gonna run out of space here. Let's pick it up.
Okay, pick it up. Alright, so the active shorts for wet, sandals, dry sandal, clip for my camera,
Nice.
water bottle, tumbler,
Not
as they
one,
say.
but
One.
two.
Filtered water if we ever get
Yeah.
stranded,
Dang. And then show him the
And then
backpack.
the dry bag, baby.
Alright, Harris, show him your setup.
You got a dry bag over here.
It's like 2 water bottles and a towel.
That's all I need.
My setup is a dry bag, and it's pretty much just camera gear. I didn't even bring extra clothes, so hopefully I won't need them. What's the best part of the tour?
That's the best here, big lagoon.
The big lagoon?
Yeah.
Alright, looking forward to it. Alright, we're heading to the boat. It's all the way down there. All right, we just made it to our first stop, which is Seven Commandos Beach. It's kind of a small beach, a lot of people here, and I don't know if there's anything like really special about it, but it is nice. The water is clear, and we are here for 40 minutes, so we don't have all the time in the world, but it's nice to stop and kind of just relax and swim. This is, I think, one of the few, if not the only time we're gonna actually dock the boat. The other stops, I think, we're like gonna stop in the middle of the water and jump off and snorkel and swim. But here we're actually gonna be on the sand. So yeah, this is our first stop, and I think it's time to go in the water. I didn't expect to see like this many corals and also like clownfish and different fish, but definitely really cool. What do you guys think?
Very nice, very clear.
Yeah, very clear. What'd you think? Jeez, look at the setup. You guys ready for anything. Why are you laughing? Overall, a lot of fun. I wish we had more time. That 40 minutes went by fast. It's really windy. I don't know if you could even hear me. But we are about to get on the boat to go to the next stop. Alright, we are at the second stop. This is Big Lagoon. Sorry, it's a little noisy because of the boat. We are parking. I think it's like the biggest part of this tour, and there's also kayak rentals because it's a little bit further down. So we are thinking of maybe kayaking instead of just swimming.
We are.
We are kayaking?
Oh, we're not gonna swim all the way there.
Hey, I got fins. I got fins. We'll see. We are kayaking to the Big Lagoon. I'm in the middle, so I don't got to do any work. How's it over there? You're chilling?
Right here.
It's a workout?
It's a back workout.
Look at the color of that water. This is the Big Lagoon. I'm telling you, the GoPro does not do it justice. We're surrounded by like these cliffs. I mean, that's what a lagoon is. I'm definitely gonna jump in. It's really shallow over there. You can see like people standing. But I want to jump in. I got my fins, and I guess I'm ready to snorkel.
So since it was a group tour, we had very limited time here. So here's just a short montage. So after a bit of swimming and exploring the caves, we made our way back to the boat until I realized I was missing a fin and we had to go back and look for it.
Is that a rock or is that my fin? Let's go! Let's go! Now we are going extra fast. Maybe I'll help paddle with this. All right, we are at our third stop. Tell us where we are, Aldrin.
We are at Big Lagoon Part 2.
Is it? We are docked for lunch. I think if it wasn't as windy, we would actually go onto the land. But it's very windy, so we're all chilling. There's a lot of boats here, and I think they're preparing lunch. So we are gonna eat. And there's also a bunch of people here selling coconuts, which is funny.
And rum.
Normally I would buy one just like for the fun of it, but I already did in Boracay when we were snorkeling. So I think I'm good.
Maybe have beer.
Cheers to the Philippines.
How's the food?
Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's yummy. Because I'm so hungry.
Oh, so it's only good because you're hungry.
Yeah. No. It's good.
It's good?
Yeah.
Okay.
So following lunch, we had 2 more stops. The first was to another snorkeling area, and truthfully, it paled in comparison to the Big Lagoon, but it was still a lot of fun. Most of the tour is pretty much just snorkeling and swimming, so I didn't really film all that much because it can get a bit repetitive. Although once we got to the last stop, it was a bit different.
We are at the last stop called Secret Lagoon. There were a lot of boats, and you can't really park right on the sand, so we actually had to swim here, and I was like debating if I should bring my bag, because my bag has like my camera and my drone and all that. And I was like, it's the last stop, I gotta do it. So I brought my dry bag here. Hopefully no water seeps or anything. But anyways, this is Secret Lagoon, and I think the secret is down there where all those people are. There's like a little cave area. So I think that's where everyone's going. I'm gonna go there with my GoPro, and there's also this area right behind me, so I'm gonna go check that out. I don't know where everyone is. I think they went there. I was kind of swimming around, saw a clownfish, which was cool. I'm gonna go see what's over there.
Time will prove my love to be true.
Just like the other lagoon, we only had a short time here. So after walking around the beach for a few minutes, I went to check out the secret lagoon, which you enter through a pretty tight opening.
Alright, it's pretty tight. And I got these. I should have used water shoes, but I didn't have. This is cool.
Now the water wasn't the clearest, and that might have been because the sun was hidden, but all the huge cliffs in all directions definitely made this place unique.
This place is emptying out, not many people left, and it is time to go back. This island tour was definitely a lot of fun, definitely worth it, and I'm very glad about the weather and just the entire day in general.
When we booked the island hopping tour, we had the choice between a group boat and a private boat. And obviously we went for the group boat because it's much cheaper. But looking back, it wasn't just the price that made that the right choice, but also the people we got to meet. Sometimes when I travel, I can get caught up in only focusing on the destination and the landscapes I see in photos. But one thing I've learned on this trip is that the people we meet, whether locals or other travelers, are also part of the trip, and making those connections can really impact the memories that are made, which is something I kept in mind going into the next day.
Morning, come quickly. You're holding my breath this time.
Alright, Harris, tell them what we're doing.
We're climbing walls.
Climbing walls? We are at the canopy walk in El Nido. It's like, I don't even really know what it is. I didn't think we'd be wearing helmets. But we have a guide and we're doing, I think, a short hike. You're gonna be our guide?
Yeah. Ernie.
Ernie?
Ernie.
Is it gonna be hard? That was easy?
Yeah, it's an easy one.
Are we gonna be sweating?
Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know much about what we're about to do. I just know that at the top, there's like a suspension bridge kind of thing, and also like a dream catcher, spider web, hammock. You'll see at the end.
So apart from the boat tours, the canopy walk is one of the main attractions here in El Nido, and considering it only takes about an hour, we decided to try it out. Also, Aldrin chose to sit this one out, so it's just me, Harris, our guide, and 2 other travelers.
I'm going one hand for now so I can film, but might have to put my camera away at some point. Okay, that was like 2 minutes. We are at the canopy walk, which is a suspension bridge. We have these harnesses to hook on just in case.
Impossible is worth a fail.
Gotta be a little sturdier than this. Alright, we got the nice views though. You good over there?
Yeah, I'm good.
You chilling?
Chilling.
Definitely a lot wobblier than I thought, but it feels secure. Alright, it's a bit harder than I thought. Like, it's simple because the steps are just stairs really, but it's steep. It doesn't look that steep, but it feels steep. But I think we're almost at the top. Tired? Yeah, let's go. Pretty sure we made it to the highest point. Wow, look at that view. It's our hotel way down there. We originally wanted to do this place for sunrise, but they stopped offering sunrise tours, so earliest you can go is 8, I think, and we went out around 10. The sunrise is right over here, so that would have been really nice and definitely worth it, but we'll take what we can get, and the views are still really nice. You prefer sunrise, or doesn't matter to you?
Sunset is better.
That wasn't an option. I mean, like, would you wake up at like 5 and do sunrise, or you just rather come here?
Rather come here sunset.
No, sunset's not an option. The cost of the guide, or the cost to even enter this place, was 730 pesos. So unless you're on like a super budget, definitely worth it. Worth it? Yeah. Honestly, one of my favorite things to do when traveling is just like go to high viewpoints and like look out on the city or town or whatever. So definitely a good spot for me. How many people come here a day?
70 to 80% we climb here daily.
Wow. So you're climbing this a lot.
Yeah, 7 to 6 times going up and down.
Oh, you don't get tired?
No, it's not.
No?
I'm 8 years now here.
8 years?
Yeah, since starting the activity, I work here until now.
Oh wow, you like it though?
Yeah, I like
You love your job?
it. Yeah, every exercise.
Oh yeah, this is your exercise.
Yeah.
Okay, so the sunrise thing I was talking about is actually not here on this canopy walk, but where is it? This mountain, Tarao, I don't know how to pronounce it, but that's a sunrise hike, and it used to be a tourism thing. It was very popular, everyone was booking it, but then there was an accident and then they closed it down, which is unfortunate. But our guide was saying that people still do guides like under the table, like not with the tourism here, just because the tourist board doesn't want to be liable. So honestly, if we knew earlier, we might have done it because that's something we really wanted to do, but we're leaving tomorrow morning, so it doesn't look like we can do it. All right, Aldrin, tell them where we are.
Nacpan Beach.
We are at a beach called Nacpan Beach. It's like 45 minutes on the tuk-tuk is what it's called. So it was a long ride. It was a very bumpy ride, but the views were pretty cool. Saw some cows and some mountains. And we were meeting with a few people from the island hopping tour yesterday. The plans kept changing. Originally, we were gonna do like another tour, which I kind of wasn't down for. But then the boat that we were supposed to go on broke, so the tour got canceled. And I was like, I'm kind of down. Aldrin, I know you're down too. He's got his hand in the air. So it kind of worked out. I actually also wanted to go zip lining, but then no one else wanted to go and it was really far. So yeah, now we are at the beach and I think we're just gonna be chilling, and this is a good spot for sunset. So fingers crossed that we actually get to see the sunset.
And so for the next couple of hours, the 6 of us just chilled at the beach. Just hanging around and relaxing isn't something I usually do when traveling, because I feel the need to do as much as possible with the limited days I have. But I have to remind myself that rest days are okay and can even be just as memorable. So simply hanging out at the beach is what we did. Well, until we were offered to ride ATVs until sunset. just like that, our time in El Nido was coming to an end. From kayaking in the lagoon to walking the canopy and now swimming at dusk with people we just met, I think it's safe to say El Nido treated us well. And it's kind of funny, the friends we made are people we're probably never going to see again, and that's okay. In life, most people we meet are in our lives temporarily, but still teach us and help shape who we are. And in the same way, the people we meet when we travel, who are likely just part of our lives for a short time, will still shape the experiences and the destinations we find ourselves in. So what would otherwise just be another beach we visited in the Philippines is now a lot more than that. This really was the perfect way to spend our last night here. And although it was our last night, this wasn't actually the last thing we did. But this episode's getting pretty long, so I'll save it for the next one.